Hi, Paul Slack is Good News Planet. I'm here with Isaac Zablocki. Hi, Isaac. How are you?
I'm great. How you doing?
Okay, good. I am here. Where here is the JCC on the Upper West Side of Manhattan, New York, about 76th Street and Amsterdam Avenue. Actually, it's my area. I live here 33 years, and the JCC is a great institution. And we have here, Isaac is running and been involved. I think you're one of the original founders, right?
One of the founders, yeah.
Well, that's a big honor for us to get to speak with you. We have a show called Good News Disabilities, and our Good News broadcast in general is really just trying to strengthen the message of the world being a good place, the people in the world being a good place, no matter color, creed, physical, intellectual, or disabilities. And what we're going to talk about today are disabilities. So you've created a ReelAbilities Film Festival, and tell us what it's all about.
So this is our 10th year of the festival. It's
Congratulations.
Thank you, a milestone. It's about, in many ways, it's about accessibility and inclusion, but it's mostly about showing great films that people usually do not get to see, and exposing the public to stories about people with disabilities that are not the normal vision. So, I mean, first of all, you rarely get to see stories about people with disabilities in the mainstream through film or media. But specifically when you do get to see people with disabilities, often you don't get to see the real lives and the real stories, and people with disabilities are often portrayed in kind of as caricatures almost. And we've created this festival that has amazing movies. We get over 500 submissions a year, and
wow.
We try to pick the best, and a lot of good films. Just we don't have room for absolutely everything. And then we try to bring the community together to celebrate people with disabilities, to engage with these stories, to feel connected to these stories, and we present the films with conversations. We make it completely accessible, so there's every film is captioned. This year every film is audio described, so the blind and people with visual limitations are able to come to the festival and enjoy these films along with everyone else.
Wow, what a project! And how did it begin? Since you are one of the founders, where did it start? Was there somebody in the family, or was there people in other people's family, or what was the calling?
For me personally, I mean, I have a very strong connection to the disability world, both from family, my own personal connections, and in general, I mean, I guess. I've always focused on bringing attention to people who are not included in the mainstream of society, and trying to celebrate those who are different. And that's been something that I've done in my career and also personally. And it's important for me to bring the outsiders to the inside.
The JCC here, the Jewish Community Center here of Manhattan, I think there's a Meyerson, I think.
Marlene Meyerson, JCC.
Named after her so nicely. And I know Carol Zabar also has been very involved with the film programs here, and we just did recently the Israel Film Festival. So this place is really like a haven for that area, for films and for the interest in the subject matter, such as what you're doing here.
So the program really focuses on films for social change. I believe that film is a form of education. Any movie you're watching changes you, affects you, has an impact on you, sometimes more positively and sometimes less. And the film, I think it's a great tool and a great responsibility that has a lot of power, so it needs to be used well. And we try to bring these films together, and throughout the year we show here films that ultimately are about social change and impact in our society.
You know, Isaac, I will say that you're doing exactly what Elie Wiesel requests. And actually, he requested right on the outside of the building. So they have a big mural, I'll say, size, where Elie Wiesel says, you know, if you're, I can't quote him exactly, but in essence, if you have something to say and you don't say it, you should be saying it. And I'm trying not to minimize his comment, but the concept is to speak out, to let people know your thinking and your thoughts, because if you withhold it, then we're not moving forwards.
Absolutely, I feel very strongly about that, and I'm moved every time I walk past that sign. It's important, especially at times like this, to make sure that democracy is ensured and that people's voices can be heard. And part of showing films is to give a voice to people who don't normally get to be heard. And hopefully the audiences that come to this will feel a level of empathy, feel a level of engagement, and learn something new.
Well, you know, we're only 2 days after the Oscars here, and this event here, and I've been to it, this is the Oscars as well. And I believe, and you know, I've heard words up to 1 billion people have disabilities of some sort. I don't know if that's so, but in any case, I didn't count them. But we're talking about a lot of people with disabilities. There's all kinds, intellectual, physical, and so on. Give us some idea of some of the movies, when it starts, some details.
So the festival, first of all, deals with disabilities, touches on disabilities across the spectrum. People ask me, is this a disability? Is that a disability? I say yes. I say, you know, this is any kind of difference within within film that shows somebody who has a different approach to the world and can be in any way recognized a little bit as a disability. We definitely try to include it if it's a good film. And so we have films on every topic of every kind. We have documentaries, we have feature films. Our opening night is a film called Keep the Change, which was actually made here at JCC Manhattan. It was shot here based on our disability program that's here, the Center for Special Needs. So it's going to be a big homecoming celebration for this film, and Marlee Matlin, Oscar winner, speaking of the Oscars, will be here. She's going to be honored. But we have a lot of fantastic films. There's another film on the topic of autism called Deej, which is a documentary about a young man applying for college. He's nonverbal. You would think when you meet somebody on the street who's on the spectrum and nonverbal, people immediately have assumptions of their intellectual capacity. I can tell you this guy is the smartest guest we're going to have at the festival. No offense to all of our other guests who are perfectly brilliant. He might not be able to express it verbally, but when he punches it into his iPad, beautiful things come out.
I can appreciate that. Actually, I've been working. My vice president of my company has been was disabled in a car accident, and coma, and you know, paralyzed, and his brain works so he's the smartest guy I know. But he can't verbalize sometimes. He has a hard time getting it out because his brain is going faster than his lips can go. But he's just a genius and most loved of everyone. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Right, and technology is helping us find ways sometimes to be able to express these things, and people need sometimes different ways to express. We have a lot of short films in the festival that I'd love to highlight. There's, for the first time, we have a film about Crohn's disease called
really?
Still Running, and it's a wonderful personal story, a 4-minute film that just is a perfect little film. And goes beyond Crohn's. It's about really somebody who's dealing with an ongoing disease, and that's something that's also a big part of this disability world and non-disability world. We're featuring 2 films on learning differences, which is a topic that I very much resonates for me and is a growing topic of popularity, and people recognizing, in schools especially, recognizing all the different ways people can learn and how some people just don't pick up the same in the traditional way. And we have films that kind of share that experience and can bring you into that world, and I just found it so eye-opening and felt connected to it.
So how does it, in essence, it starts on March 8th, runs through the 14th. You buy a pass for the entire program schedule, or you buy individual, you buy a 10-pass? Well, how does it work?
There is like a pass option for screenings here at the JCC, which is the main location, but we're in over 30 locations throughout the New York metro area, really all the local counties. The reason for this is to be accessible. And if we just ran at JCC Manhattan, some people in Staten Island wouldn't be able to see come to the festival, who otherwise would like to see these films.
That's wise, yeah.
So we've, from the beginning, have had a model that goes into as many locations as possible, and we partner with hundreds of wonderful partners who are doing the work on the ground. And it really brings the community together. You can buy tickets online at ReelAbilities.org/New York. And there's also a lot of special events. We go beyond the films. There's a comedy night. There's a fashion event. There's different conversations about inclusion in media. It's going to be a fun week.
Yay! Oh, wow, that's really special. So, what is this? Let me just, what movie is this one?
This is the Keep the Change, the opening night film. And,
okay.
You open it up. I mean, the best is to, of course, find things online because things get updated. We have a lot of family programs this year too. We're going to be showing a collection of shorts for families on the Sunday morning of the festival here at the JCC. After a family art day, we're going to have an exhibit up that relates to disability. There's a film called Hero Steps about a child who's an amputee after stepping on a landmine and is trying to join a soccer team. And it's just a great feature film from Colombia. Films come from around the world. There's another Chinese film that's also family friendly. Of course, you need to be able to read subtitles, so it's, I'd say, age 10 and up. But it's about a group of kids who are blind and they sing, and it's based on a true story. And they're going from Tibet to another city to appear on kind of the Chinese version of American Idol. And it's about their journey to this show.
Wow. All right. So it's diversity plus.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It's every kind of diversity, and it's really something for everyone.
How many movies in total?
There's about 30 films in total.
You're busy bee. You work on this all year, probably?
We start the selection process before the summer, so we're about to jump right back into that and go year-round. But we have 3 other festivals here and an ongoing series, too, so we stay busy.
Well, I love it. In fact, I'm going to use a Yiddish term, being in the JCC, kvel. All right, kvel means it's just such happiness and knowing that that you're sharing this beauty with the world.
Thank you.
Isn't it?
Thank you.
Last 2 quick questions. Let me ask you. What's good news for you, Isaac, in any aspect of your life?
Well, right now, my life is focused on ReelAbilities, honestly, and good news is that the word's getting out. We had this year billboards in Times Square and one of the jumbotrons. We're in the taxis. We're on shows like your show, where more people are learning about ReelAbilities than ever before.
Yeah, and you have this insert was in the New York Times. Was it other places as well?
I'm glad you caught it. I wasn't sure if people saw it. You know, sometimes you just throw out those inserts, right?
Well, I happen to be one of the few left that's reading the newspaper on as print, and
You're
then,
not alone.
and then recycle it. So that is a good thing. My last question, because we're also very involved with the International Day of Peace, which is September 21st, which we want to speak with you about as well, because disabilities is part of our outreach. It's the United Nations Day on September 21st. 193 countries agreed to it. So I've asked thousands of people, actually, what does peace mean to them? And we're making a movie which is coming out called Woodstock Forever. What does peace mean to you? So I've asked thousands of people, what does peace mean to you? So Isaac Zablocki?
Zablocki, yeah.
Zablocki, okay. Isaac Zablocki, what does peace mean to you, if you don't mind?
That's a tough one. The other ones I was able to get. I mean, I immediately associate it with the Middle East and finding ways for neighbors to live with one another, side by side, together. But it's true absolutely everywhere. Finding ways to respect one another and all humanity.
Love it. Isaac, thank you. Best of luck. The website again is?
Is ReelAbilities.org/New York.
Okay.